We're going to be breaking down the beginner music video editor / director checklist. I'm going to be going over every single essential that you need to get into editing or directing music videos. Now, if you are a pro or you are a beginner, I highly recommend watching this video either way because you actually might be missing some things in your workflow that I've been using for over 7+ years as a music video editor and director. So highly recommend you guys watch all the way to the very end. I'm also running a buy one get one free sale on my editing packs, but I'll talk about that later. It'll be in the description. But let's hop right into this. So let's start off with the essentials, the stuff you actually need to shoot a music video. Let's start off with shooting the music video first, and then let's talk about editing the music video. We'll go part 1 and then part 2. So number 1 is a camera. Obviously you need a camera to film a music video. So basically any DSLR or mirrorless camera is super popular right now. You pretty much want anything that can shoot 1080p or 4K. Some good examples are the Sony a6400, the Canon M60, the Lumix G7, or my favorite, the a7S III, the FX3, and kind of that Sony line. Fuji has some good cameras as well, but those are some beginner cameras I just listed before. You can also use your iPhone as well. The brand new iPhone is incredible, and if you're shooting on Apple ProRes flat, you can really play with the colors while you're editing and get some really crazy looks. So if you have that, that's almost better than some of the cameras I listed, which is crazy to me. And honestly, don't stress the specs. What matters most is learning composition, lighting, and movement, which we'll talk about later in this video. Next, we have lenses. Now, a 35mm or 50mm prime lens around an f1.8 is perfect as a beginner lens. This is pretty much what I used. I had a couple other ones, like I had a 16mm and 8mm, but I found myself using this one the most as a beginner because I just felt like I can control it the most, especially when it's on a tripod, and it really added that really nice bokeh, which is the blurry background. They're sharp, cheap, and they give you that cinematic shallow depth of field that I was talking about, the bokeh in the background. And then next we have memory cards and storage. So I would say you need around 2 to 3 SD cards. I would maybe get the max amount at like 256 gigabytes, especially if you're going to be filming 4K and like 120 FPS if your camera allows that. So you could do like speed ramp and editing. We'll get into that later. And I would also recommend buying an external SSD, which is like a Samsung T7 or a SanDisk Extreme. Pretty much what I do is I edit off of my SSD, so I'll plug it into my USB-C port on my laptop or my PC, and I'll edit directly off of that. So I'll put the footage from my SD card onto the SSD. That sounds confusing, but it's really not if you know what I'm talking about. And then you're going to edit directly off of the SSD in your editing software because it's probably going to be faster than the SSD in your computer, which is surprising, but it's actually is faster, or your hard drive. Please do not edit off of your hard drive. That is an insane mistake I made in the past, and I learned very, very quickly that it'll slow your editing time down by probably like hours. Let's talk about editing computers. So basically any PC or Mac that runs Premiere Pro or After Effects smoothly is what I would recommend. I teach Premiere Pro and After Effects editing on this channel, so that's what I'm going to recommend, but there's other editors that you can use on your phone like Final Cut Pro. I think Premiere has a phone app now, CapCut. There's a bunch of like other apps, but I highly recommend using a PC, and I would really focus on RAM. I would go for 16 gigabytes plus and a good GPU, especially if you're working a lot with After Effects. Now, Premiere Pro really is CPU heavy as well, so if you plan to do a lot of cutting, especially like 6K or 4K footage, I would really focus on getting a good CPU as well. I think the M line of Macs are incredible. If you can get yourself a good M1 or M2 Mac, I think that will go a long way, and it'll be a lot better than probably a $2,000 PC. So I highly recommend Mac. Now let's hop into some software. I highly recommend, like I said, Adobe Premiere Pro for editing and chopping, After Effects for VFX and then adding motion, and you could also use DaVinci Resolve for both of those, but I highly recommend that for color grading. I actually don't use DaVinci for color grading, but I've used it a couple times and it has a lot more settings and it's very complex. But if you're a beginner and you want to stick to the basics, I think Adobe Premiere Pro is where it's at, and then for some advanced effects, After Effects is there as well. Also on top of software, I want to talk about my plugin Fast Effects. If you're looking for a super simple way to add hits, shakes, transitions, everything into Premiere Pro, which it actually doesn't have, Fast Effects is your go-to plugin. You can scroll through hundreds of transitions and effects and click on one and have it appear in your timeline in seconds, and all of them are fully customizable. And the best part is right now we're running a sale where you can get 2 free editing packs of your choice with Fast Effects. More info will be on that down below. You can pick any editing pack you want under $40. There's a ton of value in this, so I highly recommend checking it out if you are a beginner or if you are a pro. Now, when it comes to audio, I use my camera's in-body mic, but if you do want to have some crispy sound that you want to use later, you could check out a Rode VideoMic Pro, or you could check out a lavalier mic if you're shooting like dialogue for your music videos, but I don't really think you need that. And then the most important part, in my opinion, besides camera, all that stuff, is lighting. I highly recommend getting some lighting panels, or like, you know, like a softbox as well. The Godox SL60W is really good, or the Amran 60D. And there's also like newer light panels that you can get as well on Amazon that can add like accent colors or backlights. I'm sure you've seen them in a bunch of videos. They're really cheap. You can put batteries in them. You can plug them into the wall. I highly recommend one of those. And then also, if you have the budget for it, I would get like a tiny, super powerful light. I got one for around 200 bucks, and I would, for running on videos, I could just hold it in my hand with the camera, and it just worked really, really well. Now, when it comes to accessories, I highly recommend getting a solid tripod. I wouldn't get a $20 wobbly one. I've literally bought like probably 10 of those, and if I just invested in one really good one from the beginning, I wouldn't have wasted all that money on shitty tripods just for them to break on set. Next is an ND filter, which is pretty much like sunglasses for your camera. When you're shooting during the day and you want to shoot at like f1.8 or something to get that blurry background, your camera is going to be super overexposed and the exposure is going to be insane. So it's like sunglasses for your camera. You just screw it on and that makes the image darker. And I also recommend a Pro Mist as well, which is going to add a little bit of bloom and makes things glow a little bit and smooth the skin tones. I run both of those on my camera at all times. I'm actually running it right now. And then we got some extra batteries, which I highly recommend. For my Sony camera, I have like 5 batteries for it. Just like always have batteries. You never know what's going to happen. You never know if like one of them just dies or poops out. You don't want to be screwed on set with one battery, have it die, and then, hey man, I can't shoot your video. I would also recommend a cleaning cloth and then a camera bag as well. Now let's talk about some gear that you don't need as a beginner, but you know, if things are going well, when you got a little bit of a budget to expand and get some new things, I would highly recommend snagging these things. So first and foremost is a gimbal. The DJI Pro RS3 is really good, or they have like a Zhiyun Weibo, I think. I don't know how to really pronounce that, but they're really good for like smooth shots. So gimbals are like locked off shots that are just going to be smooth. I'm sure you know what a gimbal is. And then a fog machine is a really good one as well, or haze sprays, just to add a lot more texture for your atmosphere. And then maybe cop like a secondary lens, you know, like a wide angle 16 to 24 millimeter, maybe even like a fisheye. That'd be really good to cut in between. And then getting like a camera cage or a monitor to go on top so you can see everything a lot clearer is really nice as well. Now let's talk about the editing side of things. When it comes to essential plugins and assets, like I was talking about, I use FastFX on every single one of my projects. I'll have that link down below. It's great for music video editing, which we cover on this channel, but I think there are some other ones that are really good as well. I think Twixtor is really good for adding slow motion to those music video clips that you can't really slow down. I really like film grain overlays for texture. If you really want to get that film cinematic look, there's a bunch of film overlays as well, which you can get on my website. Sound effects are super incredible as well. Whooshes and risers for transitions and everything, which you can get on. I'm going to stop with a shameless plug, but all this stuff, I have my own versions of it on my website. If you want to support me, you can check it out, but there's also free like downloads on YouTube for like smaller packs and stuff. So if you want to grab my version of it, it'll be linked down below for all these things. But like I said, there are free versions out there if you don't have the budget for it. I totally get it. Anyways, next we have LUT packs. LUT packs are basically color grading for your music videos like I was talking about, but I have a LUT pack that has 285 LUTs. Just kidding, guys. There's free LUTs on YouTube. I highly recommend like typing a certain look you want. Let's say like the Joker look was really popular a couple years ago. I want my music video color like the Joker. Go on YouTube and search Joker LUT free download. There's going to be one out there. And there's a bunch of other options as well for other packs. Fred Pele has a really good pack called MXM2 or MXM that lets you to add paper textures to your videos. Pixel Safe has Auto Edit or Auto-VFX. Pretty much just like automatically cutting your videos or automatically adding VFX with AI. There's a bunch of plugins. They're not necessary, but I think the ones you'll need the most are transitions, which I can give you inside of FastFX, and then color grading, and then sound effects. I think that's all you really need. And then we have the extremely nice things that you can get, but you don't need them. First on the list is a drone. I think every single videographer that has made it has the drone, but barely uses it, myself included. You don't really need a drone, but if you want to get it, you can. I just recommend renting one. Some people are really into vintage lenses for getting like unique flares and blurs and everything. I've used them before, but I'm like not really the biggest fan. And there's also like old CRT TVs, VHS cameras, all those kind of things, which I think is really cool to add some more texture. So I highly recommend checking out those ones if you have a little bit more of a budget. And then on top of all the things you need, I want to talk a little bit about mindset and organization. So we'll kind of end the video after this, but I think it's a very important key topic to talk about. Always make sure you back up your footage twice. external and cloud, just in case something happens. Label your files properly so you don't accidentally delete them, and then also name your sequences so it's easier while you're editing. And then maybe create a simple like client folder, so like have it named like raw/project/exports, so you know everything that's going on is like in a flow. I would also study other music videos frame by frame to learn their pacing and style, and then build a strong like editing reel or a directing reel, even if you have to shoot free projects early on, just so you have work to show for. Anyways, guys, that's been it. Don't waste your money trying to buy your way into good videos. You want to buy the tools that actually make your workflow faster and your work cleaner. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like down below and comment what camera you guys use. I'm curious to know. Anyways, our buy one get one free sale is happening right now and you don't want to miss out. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.